there, this is Val with Folk Art Wings, and I thought I'd do a quick how-to. I'm going to start with kind of a beginner series, and one of the things when you have like a paperback book, when you're dismantling any old book that has a lot of wear and tear to it and isn't really worth anything at that point, you can get these from yard sales. You can get them from families that are clearing out the house of maybe a family member, or you can go to your local library and they sell old books for 50 cents to $1. And I pick them up periodically when I'm out and about running errands. I'll pop into the library, see what's on the cart, and pick up something like that. But anyways, you have some books that are sewn into really nice covers, and the bindings are professionally done. But then you can get books that you just have to tear out. And so they're not a double fold book page. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Sorry, I didn't have this ready right here, but here I am back. And you can see this is sewn in, the little holes here. And this is a double page that I can decorate. There's several different things I can do with this. But when I get single pages, which a lot of times you'll run into when you are going through your old books to kind of glean book pages for your mixed media or junk journals or artwork of any kind, crafting of any kind. These single pages, you think, well, what can I do? Well, you could fold them in half this way and attach them into a junk journal. You can tear them in pieces and use them for your mixed media. What I do a lot of times is I'll take a batch of them when maybe physically I'm not up to or able to do some good, wonderful artwork that I'm used to doing, and kind of have take a kind of a rest period. And so I'll take book pages that are single and I'll fold them down. And it doesn't matter which way you fold them. You know, you have that choice. And I'll do maybe half of them in one direction, half in another direction. And the reason I do this is because I might want to glue them down to a double page in my journal. And so I might glue them all the way around here. Then I've got a pocket here that I can use. And maybe I want one over here. So I've got to have one folded in this direction to be able to put one on that side. It just depends on where you want to use them in your journals. Tearing up single pages, there's no education needs to be done. This is very, very simple ideas that I'm starting with. So I just look at this point and fold so that this edge lines up, and then I get this ankle fold. What do we do at this point? Well, you can leave it like it is because it's wonderful. A lot of times I'll put a little piece of white tissue glued down. It gives me a matte effect. You can see through the tissue and see that there is a printed book page, but it fades it enough that you can write on it and still detect all your writing is dominant compared to the printed page. Couple of ways that I decorate sometimes is I'll take little scraps of paper that I've put aside and kind of gather what would look interesting together. You know, might actually, I like the writing on this side, so I'm going to keep that. Might do this and lighten it up with a little bit of old writing paper. Might use a little brown packing craft paper that maybe came in an Amazon or some order that I did online. Or you can use a piece of grocery bag if you have paper sacks at your grocery store. And what else can I do to this? I found this is like you tear off the edge of a notebook paper maybe, and it's got a little bit of design work in there. I might want to do something as simple as just glue these together or staple them together and then put them on here. And so I've got one with different paper effects. This one is baking paper. This is a tea bag tag that's been heavily coffee dyed. Coffee dyed paper, I just stapled it together, and you can decorate the page just like that. Another idea is to take your paper swatch, is what we call them. You can put your paper swatch maybe down in the, so we've got this one on the triangle fold, which I hope I've got these in the shot. I looked through a couple of book pages to see if there was anything, you know, interesting in the writing, because I don't want to have to stamp something or print something on the computer and try and age it and all that. Why not use my book pages? So it says, her laugh, as a rule, was pretty. And I'm a loud, gutsy laughter person, and it annoys some people. I love that her laugh, as a rule, was pretty. I think that is just so awesome. So I'm going to glue that down and attach that right there. I think that looks lovely the way it is. I fussy cut some butterflies out of an old book. Sometimes I leave the antenna and I cut around it. This one I did not. You could put something like that up in the corner if you wanted to. Add that over here underneath the words. I kind of like that. But just experiment a little bit. On this one, I've got some part of a sticker book was given to me, and they didn't like some of the images, and I love this one. They didn't care for it too much. But I love this one because it reminds me of myself. And I love books. I love reading the books. I love passing the books along to friends if I think they're inspirational, will help them. I just like collecting books, and I like junk journals. Turned me on to what can I do with a book that's messed up. I can't resell it. It's got damage to it. So this little stamp sticker I thought was just, you know, it really makes you ponder. And it's about books. So why not go ahead and just use a sticker? And there we go, a decorated page to put in any journal. I think it's really cute. You don't have to do anything else to it. If you want to, you could trim it out. Guess what this is? It's the handle on a grocery bag from the grocery store. And so it reinforces that edge. You could put it along here, and it really does strengthen that edge. But I feel like a page that's already folded like this is reinforced pretty well. You can leave your pages so the flap always opens. And like I said, you could put a little white tissue paper here, something used, maybe that someone stuffed in a gift bag when they gave you a birthday present. I always save those scraps, and one sheet delivers a lot of usage in mixed media. And so I'll use that. I think this kind of looks cute the way it is, but when I put this here, it brings out this book a little bit of flesh tone. So I think this is a good idea. I'm going to go ahead and trim it off. And while we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and glue it down. And what I'm using here, I find that this glue is just dynamo. I love it. It is Elmer's Extreme, and I use it for everything. I think it holds really well, even when I'm covering fabric on my book covers, my journal covers. One time I went to an estate sale, and I bought a huge tub of upholstery fabric samples, and they were just some of the ugliest fabrics you ever saw, and I've ended up using most of them in my journals on the covers. Sometimes a little bit for the tabs or a paper clip fringe, you know, little ways of decorating. Tie them all together. And let's see what else I've got. Oh, at a yard sale, I got all these ovals, circles, and squares that were already punched out, and it was in a case, and I bought the whole thing. Um, I added the picture in the middle, and that's from a seed catalog. And so I just, put glue around the outside of that oval and attached it to that circle. And then I think it would look really cute here. You could use it here. You could do something else on the front or leave this whole plain and then surprise you with something pretty to decorate inside here if you want. I think I'm going to use it right here. I think that's pretty. Do I need something behind it? I don't think so. I kind of like it the way it is. So I'm going to use my favorite glue again. And you can use a glue stick for this if you want. I'm using the Elmer's. And I'm not going overboard and spreading it all over. Just putting it, enough to attach. And then later, when I add this into a journal, the journal will dictate what other things I want to add to fit with the color scheme. So I'll use this with probably a journal that calls for something in the pinks or the lavender, purple family. Another idea I had was a lot of times when I'm using trash, but I used to collect scrapbook papers thinking I was going to do scrapbooking. Never did. And so this is what we call an offcut. It's at the bottom of a scrapbook page. On some pages, they might put the information of who manufactured the paper. I don't, it doesn't matter to me if that shows even because I'm using book page with all kinds of writing. But with this, I thought, well, you know what? That's kind of cute. Kind of an edge decoration, I think, really has a lot of impact. Could I put it under here and just cover up the white stripe? I think that looks kind of cute. I did have this offcut from a book page. Just has a little bit of illustration on it. You can see the page number there, which I think adds to the interest. And so would that look better? And all we have to do is sew across it before we attach it into a junk journal, or we can just glue it down. I think it looks really cute like that. Does this coordinate with it at all? Let's see. That kind of looks good. So I think at this point, I'm going to glue this down. Yeah. I'm going to glue this down here. But first, I'm going to cut that little tip off so I can have that flat bend over it. Doesn't have to be perfect as long as I come close to where it's supposed to clip off. All right, so I'm going to put this down, see how that looks. And that white shows there. Let's see if this would cover it if I put it here. So I don't have to care about the white. All right, so I'm going to take and put glue down the back of this. Now, my flap's not going to open if I glue it down like this, but I'm doing it. Let's see, I want to put it so the white is covered up. There we go. All right, now, my flap does open still. I was thinking it wouldn't. That's a benefit. Love that. And then I want to glue this down on top of this. And I want it to match the length of the other piece. So what I'm going to do is put the glue at the bottom edge of this. All right. And glue down this. I'll line up the edge of the book page with the edge of the book page that's underneath, and I'll make sure the lengths match up pretty good so it looks straight. And then, how's that look? Pretty good, I think. I'll turn it over so I can use this as a guide. clip off those two pieces. Now this piece, do I think I need to save that? No. But this piece is big enough that I can save it to maybe a swatch like this, where I was using these different pieces that I showed you earlier. And we glue those all together, and it gives them a layering effect that's kind of interesting. And then we actually add, I can't find my butterfly, but it's around here. Oh, here it is. Put my butterfly on here, and you can see everything. And I can staple right through the body if I want. Tuck this in later with a little glue. Just so I'm getting, you know, as much as I can out of scraps. I rarely throw much away. So, but anyways, back to this one. I think it's really, really charming. You can flip up still if you want to. If you don't want it to flip up, all you have to do is do a little line of glue there, press it down, hold it for a second. It'll be glued down if you want. You could just glue this edge, then you'd have a little pocket to tuck something in. But I think that's really cute. I don't think it needs any more, depending on the page that we glue it down to in our journal. With this one, I've done a little swatch. I wanted to show you. This is magazine, and magazines are hard to work with in a mixed media. They have a slick finish, but the color is great for impact. So then I took a little offcut that I had saved in my scrap pile. This is a little piece torn out of a French book that you would use in a French class in one of the high schools or junior high schools, or they call it middle school here in the United States. And so I love all the markings. There's a little notation. There's lines on it in pencil. I leave all that in my books. I don't want to erase the history. I love that. And so I think putting those together, and you can see I just stapled it. It's very simple, very quick. That little collection, I told you that there were circles, squares, and the ovals cut out of scrapbook paper in cardstock strength. I use that to as a frame for a little punch out of about, well, it wasn't a punch out, I used scissors, but I cut out this little circle from a children's dictionary, and it had kind of that Abe looking look, and the light shining, and the books he was reading, and I just thought the ambiance was really cute. So how cute is that? Added to this little stack here, and we put that as a page decoration. I mean, there's so many things you can use. This is an offcut from scrapbook paper. Same thing here. I did a little zigzag sewing down the edge. These are pieces that you could throw in and do your collages with, or decorate your book pages. Same thing with little samples of hand-dyed papers. Maybe you could add a little circle decoration along the edge of one of your book pages, would be really cute. I've done a little zigzag stitching on a pleated piece of scrapbook paper. You could add that for a decoration along the edge of a page over here. But let's keep it cute. Let's keep it simple. There's no need in doing anything that's, you know, any more elaborate than what we've got going on here. It all works out in the end. You can always keep adding to any choices that you make to decorate a page. I think it's really cute just to add a little flashcard, a little pleat all by itself right here in the middle, and then add a little something. Put some hand-dyed paper behind that, and you've got impact right there. You don't need any more on the page. Decorate the edge like this. Decorate that edge. You know, it's just not, you don't need to do any more than that. That's so pretty on a book page. And you can fill a journal really quick with some simple decorating just by turning down the page, giving it a little different look on a book page when you do the open page. You can leave it open when you attach it. This page is a little bit bigger, so you'd have to trim this down. but you can glue it along here, here, or you can put it in your sewing machine and sew it down here and here, and you have a little pocket. Or just glue down the whole thing. I like to use this angle on this side and then this angle on this side. And the reason why is when you fold up your book and you've got things tucked in, you can see them, you can feel them, you can open that page directly, pull out those little note pages that maybe you're, put a little scrap paper for writing, and you're going to use that when you've done something special with a grandchild. You want to make notes, hurry up, jot down something simple when you're in the car before you take them home. Maybe you've taken them to the library, or it's a family vacation, or it's your latest art project that you want to make some notations on what worked and what didn't work, but you have some place to save them. And when you do that, it doesn't fall out. Whereas if you put them this way, depending on the size, you're limited on the space of what you can tuck in. It has to be fit within those parameters. So, I mean, just have fun with it. I love doing junk journals. I have always been a vintage seller, an antiques seller, a craft seller, an artist, maker. I've done so many different things. And I'm always looking at something that, what can I do with it? And junk journaling really answered that for some of the collections that I have. The papers, the experimental marbling I started off with, and the tea dyeing, went from fabrics then to papers. What can I make out of this? It grows, your hobby grows. And so I hope you've enjoyed this little bit of a how-to. Very simple. If you have any questions, to put it in the comments below. I'll try to respond to it as quickly as I can. But this is Val from Folk Art Wings, and I want to start from easy and just keep building, and it'll always be easy because that's the way I like to work. I don't like doing things that are too complex. Just no fun. At my age, I forget how I did it. So I like to keep on doing some of the simple things that I do and just enhance those things. So I hope you enjoyed this. Come back again. Keep watching. I'll be posting at least once a week. But thank you. Bye-bye.